Morning, folks. I'm Dave Canterbury with Self-Reliance Outfitters in the Pathfinder School, back out here at the Pathfinder Outfitters Kitchen. What I thought we'd do today out here at the classroom is I worked on a tarp with Tentsmiths, and actually myself and Kevin Baxter were going on a road trip somewhere, and we started bouncing ideas off each other. So as we were kicking around ideas, we were trying to figure out a way to be able to have one tarp that was large enough for one person, but not bulky like an 8x8 or something that was going to weigh 5 or 6 or 7 pounds in your pack. Something you could make a shelter with fairly easily that was going to cover you more than like a 5x7 space blanket would. And something that connect to another tarp to make it much larger if you had two people and each guy was carrying one half, very much like a military shelter half, but larger. So what we decided to do is take a 6x8 tarp. And that 6x8 tarp basically has an extra row of tie-outs on the inside and the outside on a 2-foot overlap. So that you can take two tarps and put them together, and you have tie-outs here and tie-outs here, so that no matter how you put it, you've got tie-outs on the inside and tie-outs on the outside to toggle and loop connect them together to make an 8x10 tarp out of two of them. So you've got a 6x8 single tarp or an 8x10 you can make with two. What we're going to do is we're going to stretch them out here in the area outside the classroom, kind of let you look at how it goes together, toggle them up, then we're going to take them over here in the woods real quick, set it up in a simple A-frame design so you can see how huge this thing is once it becomes an 8x10 and how that overlap works to create a peak that's completely waterproof. Stay with me, guys. Okay, so what we have here is we have two 6x8 tarps, and there's 2 foot of overlap on these tarps that's meant to be there to connect two of them together. So you have tie-out points every 2 foot, and you have another set of tie-out points 2 foot away from that on one tarp, and the other tarp's got the same thing, except that flap is underneath. So what we've done is we've toggled the upper lap, for lack of a better word. We're going to flip this tarp back and toggle the other lap. What that will do is allow you to use this for an A-frame or pup tent with your ridge line down the center of that overlap, which gives you a 1 foot overlap on both sides so that it will not leak by connecting two tarps together. And you have one 6x8 tarp that you could carry if you chose to do that. Or if you had two of them and you need a bigger shelter, you carry two. Or if your buddy's got one and you've got one, you connect them together to make a larger shelter, which is now 10 foot by 8 foot. So you turn a tarp into an 8x10 now by connecting those two together from a single 6x8, knowing you have 2 foot of overlap. So let's flip this side back and toggle it together. Then we'll take it to the woods and look at what I'm talking about set up so you can understand that overlap and what it does and how it toggles together, because it's just loop-to-loop connections with a toggle through it. And of course, these are on the outside, but when we flip this tarp over on the inside, the 2 foot overlap from this tarp will be there, and it will connect two toggles that are on the inside. This top tarp that we've already toggled over here, we pull it this direction. You can see that on the inside, you've got an edge toggle here, but on the inside, you have another toggle point here that connects to this one. So we're going to connect these the same way. We're going to go toggle to loop. So we're going to take a loop, shove it through a loop, just like this. And they're kind of stiff. That's okay. And you want a big enough toggle through there that it's going to stay. So don't be skimpy on the diameter of your toggle. And work it through there just like that. And you've got a toggle to loop connection. And we'll go down and do the rest of them the same way till we've got all 5 of them in. Now you can see here our toggle points on the inside of the tarp. And there's one just like it on the outside of the tarp. So it doesn't matter which way you go. We're just going to go toggle the loop. We're going to shove the loop through. And we're going to toggle that thing. Again, don't be skimpy on the size of these toggles. Get a good sized toggle in there so it jams in there good and tight. Okay, once we went through and toggled the inside on all 5 spots, we now have 2 tarps that are connected together. All right, spread out here. Because remember, these are 6x8 tarps. You got 4 foot here, 4 foot here, overlapping 2 foot here. Now you use this for your center line, and you have a foot of overlap on both sides to shed water. So now you have a very large 8x10 A-frame shelter, plenty big enough for 2 people or even 3 plus gear inside. Now you can kind of see how this works. You've got it flap that's toggled all the way along here that overlaps, and another toggled flap on the outside. So you got one to the inside, one to the outside. The peak is going to stay bone dry because this side's going to shed water where the overlap is. And that gives you a large 8x10 type tarp that you can do multiple configurations with. Take that apart, you got one 6x8, which is plenty big enough for one guy in a solo overnight situation, something like that. A couple days out hunting, that 6x8 should do you just fine. Okay, guys, listen, I don't know if this tarp's available on Tentsmiths website right this minute or not. We came up with this idea months and months and months ago. And honestly, I just never got around to doing anything with it because I've been so busy. But I got a little bit of downtime right now. I went out and hunted this morning a little bit, opening day gun season. Didn't even see a deer. So came back, started playing with that tarp configuration with 2 of them so I could show this to you. So I can't tell you that that thing's available right now on Tentsmiths website, although I'll give them a bump and let them know I just put this video up. If they don't have them in stock, they can get some made. You can buy it, like I said, it is a 6x8 tarp. So if you wanted to make that 8x10, you'd have to have 2 of those tarps. But the single 6x8s was for sale probably on the website if it's there. I don't even know the name of the tarp, and I don't really know the price of the tarp either, so I apologize for all of that. But I want to show you this guy's idea. You guys can always call up Tentsmiths and put a bug in your ear and say, hey, how about that 6x8 tarp Dave just did a video on? And I'm sure they can get it taken care of you. If they don't have stock, they can get them made. Guys, listen, I appreciate your views and I appreciate your support. You know, we're just, myself, my instructors, we're always just trying to innovate, come up with new things, come up with better options. A lot of guys like carrying traditional type gear. I love it myself, but it gets heavy. So the lighter you can make that stuff by making it smaller and only as big as it needs to be for one guy, the better off you are. And I found that a 6x8 tarp is plenty big for one guy. That extra 2 foot for an 8x8 adds quite a bit of weight when you're talking about oilcloth or canvas. So I think we've come up with a good one here. I appreciate everything you guys do for our school, for our family, and for our business, all our sponsors, instructors, affiliates, and friends. And I'll be back with another video as soon as I can, guys. Thanks.